Okay, so the one thing you need to remember about the atmosphere of Mars is that at zero altitude, or mola, we call it, it's the density of the atmosphere there is like 100,000 feet here at Earth. So what can fly there? Not a whole lot, and I don't think you'll see any birds flapping wings way up at that altitude. So the question is how do you create simply the mobility that you'd love to have on the surface of Mars, whether it's by over land or by air. Certainly, we don't have to worry about by sea for a while. But so there are concepts for hopping around the planet, and I encourage you to take a look at those. Diane Lenny at Glenn wrote a paper in 1990 about a hopper that all it does is separate CO2 and then gets the energy to hop by recombining it. Um, and it just uses, I think, solar power. It doesn't require a lot of energy to do that, to separate it and then put it back together to create propulsion to hop around the planet. So maybe not look at the flapping wing technology because again, this is very high altitude flying on Earth, and that's the analogy. So
Okay, thank you. That's a very good point for all to consider. Um, do we have any follow-up questions? No. Uh, there's a chat message from Tampere. So there is a plan to use drones on Mars for mapping, for example. How do they look like?
so I was part of the Mars airplane team way back when. I'm trying to remember. That was probably in the late '90s, going into the early uh, 21st century. Um, what we looked at was there's certain wing types that will generate lift, but it's very difficult to get a propeller to produce the engine or the thrust that you need. So we were looking at actually a way to throttle a rocket engine to produce the thrust so that we could have something fly. Um, Balloons will also do well, but you got to that's a lot of volume. Um, so again, you're trying to fly at 100,000 feet um, at Earth, and what we found there that works better is looking at some type of rocket propulsion or thrust made that way rather than uh, aerodynamically by a propeller or a flapping wing.